Arim Ardishapur. Arim Ardishapur is the royal heir-elect of the Ardishapur family. With a background in history and an early career as a scholar and writer, he has become a worthy successor who values tradition and strict adherence to the scriptures. He is however also known for his benevolent nature, striking a solid balance befitting to a good leader. Early life. Arim Ardishapur is the nephew of Yonis Ardishapur, one of the 5 heirs to the Amar throne. As the Ardishapur decree dictates, his right hand was amputated at birth and was replaced by the traditional silver prosthetic. Arim has chosen to adorn his prosthetic with the golden seal of the Ardishapur family. As a young boy, Arim spent a fair share of time visiting his uncle's estate, where Yoni's collection of rare and valuable artifacts piqued his interest. Here the decision to pursue an education in history is most likely to have taken root. His wish was to become a scholar, but his uncle noticed that the boy had an aptitude for politics as well and began to take an interest in his life. Arim's father Arim Ardishapur was highly ranked and many times decorated general, and was disappointed in his son, as he had hoped the boy would follow in his footsteps and join the Amar navy. When Arim turned 16, there was a great falling out between father and son, for which the former blamed Yoni's bad influence and accused him of poaching his only child. Arim was never formally disowned, as this would bring too much shame upon the family. Instead, he was sent off to spend the next 2 years at school full-time, after which he went to further his education with the speakers of truth. After this education, Arim went on to live independently on a small estate owned by his parents. It is assumed that Arim's mother, Naira Ardishapur, brokered this deal with her husband to avoid her son's situation turning into a scandal. As Arim was estranged from his parents, Yonis had full reign to groom his nephew to one day become his successor. Yonis, who'd remained unmarried and thus had no offspring, saw in Arim the son he never had. Arim, in his turn, saw in Yonis the father he should have had. Heir presumptive. Arim spent a great many years pursuing scholarly endeavors. He wrote several books on the history of the empire, all which relate heavily to the scriptures and thus are not considered objective works outside of Amaharian circles. Due to their niche nature, it wasn't until the purchase of the slaves of former Grand Admiral Ankur Arrow that his name became known to the larger public. When Yoni started his campaign of public work, Arim applied himself most eagerly, first contributing and then starting initiatives of his own. He became known as a benevolent and deeply religious figurehead in his own right. His uncle gradually bestowed more power unto him, which was regarded by the majority of people as justly deserved. Arim has for some years attended meetings of the Privy Council, acting as the voice of Yonis in his absence, and eventually becoming his official delegate. In the last few years, despite his immense popularity, Yonis has begun to appear less and less in public and Arim has taken his place more and more. As a result of this, the Ardishapur family recently chose Arim to serve as their new heir presumptive. Arim's agenda is one of a return to the old ways, with a large focus on the scriptures, and his benevolent streak cuts the right balance needed to have a majority support amongst the people. He is strongly in favor of a just treatment of slaves, and wants to push for a full banning and stricter punishment for the use of transcranial microcontrollers. On the other hand, he is popular with holders because of the theological support of their rights, and his oft-made references to history and tradition. Royal heir-elect. While most considered it a mere formality, royal heir Yonis Ardishapur personally confirmed Arim's status as royal heir-elect in response to the call for all royal houses to confirm their own successions ahead of the imperial succession that will take place in YC 118. When asked about the passing of Jamal I and the Drifter's threat, in an interview following his confirmation as royal heir-elect, Arim expressed his belief that the best way for the empire to succeed is to look towards what has worked in the past, observing that, through tradition and faith a bolstered unity can be achieved that is in accordance with the will of God, and will form a shield against those who threaten Holy Amar.